Culture, which is commonly regarded as the way of life of an individual or group of people, is actually mankind's greatest asset or his most crippling liability. Contrary to the popular concept propounded by economic theorists, which identified land, labor, and capital as the principal factors of production, culture is the most decisive factor of production, productivity, and prosperity. This fact can be verified based on the experience in the nations and continent of Africa, who, based on every economic index, are the poorest in the world. But in reality, the economic status of the people and nations of the continent of Africa are in reverse proportion to their value in terms of human, natural, and capital resources. This case equally holds true concerning the economic and political status of the developed nations of the world, who are generally referred to as the Western or developed nations, whose prosperity and global dominance gained ascent at the point where they as a people and nation embraced the culture of freedom, human rights, capitalism, democracy, free market, and justice, which propelled and advanced the civilization they have championed for over 10 decades. A situation which regrettably today is witnessing a fast decline, which is rapidly eroding the economic and political fortunes and influence of these great nations across the world. This economic decline has arisen not due to lack of the acclaimed three factors of production, but as a result of the decline in cultural, ethical, and moral values of the people and nations involved. It is equally pertinent to note that culture is unequivocally the core strength of the Chinese economy today and the principal force behind its rise against the declining fortunes of the great economies and nations against whom she currently competes for status and power in the global economic and political space. Just as culture is going to remain the distinctive and most decisive capital of the economies and nations that shall rise to prominence hereafter, and not based on the commonly acclaimed economic factors of production, which regrettably individuals, nations across the world have always fought for, killed for, and are dying to get. However, it is important to note that generally there are two basic types of cultures in the world. Although not less than 14,000 cultures could be identified based on the number of gods and religions practiced by people in different countries of the world, human culture can be grouped into just two. These two cultures are the culture of righteousness and that of unrighteousness. An ancient wisdom posits in unmistakable terms the fact that righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Culture, therefore, goes far beyond the ethnic music, dance, festival parade, and funfair which people engage in. Culture is a product of human choice, along with corresponding patterns of behavior, which has the capacity of dictating the fortunes, experiences, and outcomes of the people, be they economic, political, spiritual, or temporal. However, like truth and deceit, although righteousness is just one culture, the culture of unrighteousness has many variants. The culture of unrighteousness, which is practiced by majority of people and countries across the world, which inhibits the prospects of economic prosperity and stifles enterprise, thrive on values such as dictatorship, ethnic and religious divisions, market control or socialism, corruption, wastefulness, laziness, lack of ingenuity, immorality, iniquity, oppression, fusion of state with religion, lack of education, violence, murder, ritual killing, crime, etc. The significant challenge with cultural values of this nature, which are acknowledged to impede cooperation, productivity, industry, and poverty, owes to the fact that such cultures are rooted in origins closely connected to human beliefs, which are either based on religion, tradition, or customs, that are related to the nature of the gods and idols people worship. As a result, change is stiffly resisted and difficult to implement. However, it must be emphasized that to the extent as it is said that one cannot continue to do things the same way and expect a different result, it is impossible to experience a different form of outcome, socially, economically, or politically, without a corresponding change in the cultural mix of an individual, group of people, or nation. Leadership ability to recognize and implement change in culture from inauspicious to auspicious is therefore the most decisive step towards progress and prosperity. According to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia, the gods and idols mankind are acknowledged to worship are over 14,000 in number, perhaps more, all of which recommend different cultures based on their religious instructions, beliefs, and practices. However, as a soft capital, unlike the fixed economic factors of production such as land, labor, and capital, culture can be adopted or forsaken at the instance of human will, but with an equal and equivalent benefit or consequences, depending on the option adopted. The rise and fall of people and nations, which is a common and recurring event in the annals of human and national history, arise mainly due to the fact that in almost all cases, men and nations adopt changes by embracing certain aspects of the culture of righteousness in order to escape the misery of poverty. However, as soon as prosperity is attained, they forget the past, and in their desperation to achieve more wealth, in order to be able to afford more pleasure and to enjoy more ease, they become greedy, complacent, vain, and corrupt, till eventually they relapse to the culture of unrighteousness and reckless living, which was the principal cause of their initial poverty in the first place. The principal factor responsible for the rise and fall, boom and bust, or general instability of the fortunes of men and nations, therefore, is due to human failure to keep faith with the God of righteousness or the culture of righteousness, or both. God is the icon or model of righteousness, and his commandments recommend the basic tenets of righteousness. It is only by obeying God and his commandments faithfully, therefore, that an individual or nation can hope to receive the state power that guarantees unending prosperity and growth.